Okay, hello everyone, guys. Good morning. How are you all? Good morning, everyone. Hi, guys. Good morning. How are you all? My name is Afreen and I welcome you all to today's session. Hi, guys. Good morning. Just please confirm once about the audio and video of the classes. Everything is working good, working fine. Hi, guys. Good morning. So, today we are going to discuss Unit 39. Okay, Unit 39, it is lease, finance, and hire purchase. This is IEIFS Module D, Unit 39. So, everyone who is watching this video, just please like and share the video to the maximum you can. And if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, it's a request, guys, that please subscribe this channel and press the bell notification icon. Everyone, guys, hi, hello, good evening, good morning. So we are going to discuss about lease finance and hire purchase today. This is unit 39, module D. Okay, so let's start discussing this topic. The very first thing is the lease finance. So two important thing in this chapter: lease finance and hire purchase. Two most important thing in this chapter. First is lease finance and the second is the hire purchase, right? So lease finance and hire purchase. First of all, if we talk about the lease finance is actually, or leasing is actually acquiring the right to use an equipment for a consideration. When you don't have your own asset, you acquire some asset from the owner for some consideration for using that particular asset for a particular period of time. Okay, then it is known as leasing, right? So leasing is a method of acquiring right to use an equipment for an asset consideration, resulting in the entrepreneur getting the right to use the asset. Now, if we talk about a lease, in a lease, there is a contract. If we talk about the lease system, there is a contract. There is an owner of the asset who is known as the lessor. So there is an owner of the asset who is known as the lessor, and there is the another person who acquires the right of using that asset, which is known as who is known as lessee. And this is for exchange of consideration, which is known as lease rental. For example, I have some asset, I have some land, right? I have given this land to you for using this land, for using this land for a consideration, for using this land for a consideration. Then it is known as what? Then it is known as lease contract, right? So I am giving to you, I am the owner of that asset, so I am known as the lessor. The one who is acquiring the right to use that asset is known as the lessee, and the leasing is responsible for giving lesser the lease rental. Clear? Done? Okay. Now, if we talk about the lesser, lesser is actually the owner of the asset. Lesser is what? Lesser is the owner of the asset, but the possession and the economic use of the asset is vested in the lessee. So less is the owner, whereas the possession and economic use is actually in the hand of lessee. Now, with the prior permission or approval of Reserve Bank of India, bank can form a subsidiary company for undertaking the equipment leasing services. It means that bank can involve themselves into a what a bank then involve themselves into a leasing services or equipment leasing services, but it is by undertaking a subsidiary, right? So bank can form a different subsidiary for undertaking the equipment leasing services. So always remember this very important point: bank cannot take this lease finance business departmentally. No, bank can take this equipment leasing services by forming a subsidiary company. Clear? That is known as lease finance. So lease finance is what? First of all, there are two methods of lease financing, or there are two methods of acquiring the asset: hire purchase and lease finance. This is actually this topic. So lease finance, we have started with the lease finance. Lease finance means when the lessor, means who is the owner of the asset, give the asset to the lessee for some consideration for using that particular asset for a particular period of time, then it is known as lease, and it is done for a consideration which is known as lease rental. The owner of the asset is called as the lesser, but the power to use that asset and the possession vested in the hand of lessee, right? And by the Reserve Bank of India's approval, any bank can form a different subsidiary and undertake this equipment lease financing services, right? Now, second, if we talk about the evolution of leasing in India. So, evolution of leasing in India, when we talk about the lease financing system, the very first lease finance system was initiated in 1973. The very first company which was started, the lease finance company in India was initiated in the year 1973. And the very first leasing company in India, and the name was of that leasing company was the First Leasing Company of India Limited, that was set by Farooq Irani, and it is with the collaboration of the industrialist whose name was AC Muthia. AC Muthia. So Shri AC Muthia plus the Farooq Irani, they both together start the first leasing company in India, and the leasing activity was initiated in India in the year 1973. Now, which committee is responsible for the development of the leasing industry in India? Very important thing. You have to remember this is a very important thing, that which committee is related to lease financing in India. So the committee which is related to lease financing in India was GS Dahotre committee. So according to the GS, or in recommendation of GS Dahotre committee, based on Reserve Bank of India's guidelines for the commercial bank, that how you can fund or how you can provide funding to the leasing company. Bank themselves, they themselves are allowed to offer leasing facility in the year 1994. Like, there was different bank like Bank of India and State Bank of India. They opened specialized branch for handling the lease financing, right? And post liberalization era, you know that after 1991, post liberalization era, there was a slow but there was steady increase in the foreign direct investment in the Indian leasing company. So this was actually the evolution of leasing finance in India. So first of all, the leasing activity was initiated in the year 1973. The very first company was the First Leasing Company of India Limited, and it was set up by Farooq Irani, and it was set up with the industrialist AC Muthia, right? Second, it was the significant phase, and which committee recommended the developmental phases in the lease finance. So GS Dahotre committee's recommendation, according to GS Dahotre's committee's recommendation, there was the leasing system developed in India, right? Bank themselves are allowed to lease facility, to offer lease facility, and it was later in the year 1994. Okay. Now, if we talk about the banks, there was in the initial state, there was different bank like State Bank of India and Bank of India that started the lease specialized branches to handle this lease finance in banking system. Clear? Next, let's talk about the type of lease financing. Hi, Dipankar. Thank you so much. Good morning, Dipankar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just please like and share the video. If you have understood the session, just please like and share the video to the maximum you can. Now, there are two type of lease financing. Okay, so we are talking about the two most important type of lease financing. So first is the finance lease and second is the operating lease. Very important. You have to understand this. Very, very important, right? First, the finance lease. Finance lease is also known as capital lease. Finance lease is actually when the asset is given for the full economic life of that asset. This is actually a very long leasing system. For example, let's talk about a car. Car has a general economic lifetime of 10 to 15 years, right? 10 years. For example, 10 years. A car has economic life of 10 years. Now, I have given that car on a lease for the complete 10 years, for the complete economic life of that asset. Then it is known as the finance lease. Finance lease is actually when asset is given close to the economic life of that particular asset, and then finance lease is also called as capital lease. Finance lease is also called as capital lease. Clear? Now, the lessor receive lease rental during the lease period so as to fully or so as to recover fully not only the cost of the asset but also the interest cost. Now, under this finance lease, cost of the asset is covered. The cost of the asset is covered Plus, the interest cost is also covered under the finance lease. So, the interest cost is also covered under the finance lease, plus the cost of the full asset is also covered under the finance lease. Now, finance lease usually are non-cancelable because it covers the whole economic life. The maintenance for that asset lies with the lessee, the one who is using that asset, because they are acquiring asset for the complete economic life of that asset. Clear? Now, the lease payment under the financial lease is a payment for the use, not only for the use of asset only, but also they have the responsibility. But although they have the responsibility of repair and maintenance of the asset generally lies with lessee. So lessee is responsible here for everything. The lessee is responsible for the payment, okay, of the asset, plus repairs and maintenance, plus all the general expenses which are related with that asset. Because see, it is the owner is someone else, but it's given for on a lease, and it is given on a lease to a particular person for the whole economic life. So obviously that person is responsible for the repairs and maintenance and everything, or every cost that is related to that asset, right? Now, what is operating lease? Operating lease is generally for a short period of time. Finance lease is very for a very long period of time, whereas operating lease is actually for a shorter period of time. When we are talking about the operating lease, operating lease is actually given on a shorter period of time to the multiple lessee. And here, all kind of maintenance and the repairs, they are in the hand of lessor, because a lessor is giving that particular asset. For example, I'm giving that car for 1 year to you, then for 1 year to another person, then for 1 year to another person. So they are covering from different lessee. So here the repair and maintenance all lies in the hand of lessor. Repairs and maintenance completely lies in the hand of lessor. Clear? So this is a finance lease and this is an operating lease. Now, what is the difference between these two? Very simple difference. Just see this carefully. First of all, the duration. The whole economic life or the whole useful life of the asset is in the finance lease. Whereas an operating lease, it is generally for a shorter period of time. It is generally for what? A shorter period of time. Second, if we talk about the finance line, it cannot be revoked, it cannot be cancelled, it cannot be revoked, because it is for the complete or for the whole economic life, right? So finance lease are actually non-cancelable, whereas operating lease are revocable. Operating lease are what? Revocable. Next, if we talk about the maintenance, finance lease, all the costs relating to the maintenance, taxes, insurance are borne by the lessee, right? So here, lessee is responsible for the all the cost, like there is a maintenance cost, taxes, insurance, everything are borne, or everything rests with the hand of lessee. Whereas in operating lease, all such expenses are borne by lessor, because it is for a shorter period. If we talk about obsolescence risk, okay, lessee bear the risk of obsolescence. Obsolescence means outdated, or you can say out of fashion, okay, or updated, because you know that the technology is being updated nearly on every 2 years. So in finance lease, because the lessee is acquiring that asset for the complete economic life of that asset, so obviously the lessee has to bear the risk of obsolescence. Whereas in operating lease, the lessor has to bear the risk of obsolescence. If we talk about the option of purchase in finance lease, okay, there is the option that if the lessee want to purchase the asset, they have the option to purchase the asset at the end of the contract. But this is no such option which is available in the operating lease. Very important for you all that finance lease and operating lease. What is the difference between finance lease and what is the difference between the operating lease, right? So finance lease cover the whole economic life of the asset, whereas operating lease is actually for a shorter duration. If we talk about the finance lease, it cannot be revoked. Operating lease, it is revoked. Finance lease, all the cost related to the maintenance, taxes, and insurance, it is borne by the lessee, whereas operating lease, all the expenses are borne by the lessor. Now, in finance lease, the lessee has to bear the risk of obsolescence, whereas in operating lease, the lessor has to bear the risk of obsolescence, right? If we talk about the option of purchase in finance lease, contract provide that at the end of the contract or at the end of the lease, the lessee has the option to purchase the asset if they want to. But in operating lease, there is no such contract. Clear? So this is the difference between finance and operating lease. Now, if you have any doubt in this, just please ask. Any doubt? If you have any doubt in this, please ask. Everyone, just please like and share the video to the maximum you can. And if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, it's a request, guys, that please subscribe this channel and press the bell notification icon. Everyone who is watching this video, just kindly like and share the video to the maximum you can. And if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, it's a request, guys, that please subscribe this channel and press the bell notification icon. Everyone, guys. No doubt? Clear? Everything is clear till now. Operating finance lease, difference between operating and finance lease, what is lease financing, who is lessor, who is lessee, what is the contract between the lessor and the lessee, everything, right? Now, next, if we talk about the advantages of lease financing, so obviously there are some advantage and there are some disadvantage of lease financing. If we talk about the advantage of lease financing, regular incomes are there. Okay, so first of all, if we talk about the advantage, yes, regular incomes are there. There is high profitability, growth and expansion, tax benefit and economical. It is very economical. It has tax benefit, growth and expansion, high profitability. There are regular incomes. These are the advantage of the lease finance. Whereas if we talk about the disadvantages of the lease financing, first of all, higher long-term cost is there. No ownership, contractual obligations, limited control, complex contract, okay, and operational restrictions and obsolescence risks. So these are the disadvantages of the lease financing. So some of the advantage and some of the disadvantages of lease finance, right? Now next is the hire purchase. Now what is hire purchase? Hire purchase is another way of acquiring the capital asset for the use without paying its price immediately. Now, for example, I want to use a particular asset. Instead of paying the full amount for that asset, I have purchased a car, but instead of paying the full amount of that car, I just do what? I just do what? I just split that whole amount into a particular installment that is spread over a period of time. Okay, so this allow me to pay the prices of that asset in installment when I have the option to use that asset also. Means I am using that asset, but I'm paying the price in the installment that is spread for a period of time. Then it is known as hire purchase arrangement, right? So hire purchase arrangement, goods are let on hire. The hirer means whoever is the user. For example, I have purchased that particular, so I am the hirer, I am the user. I am allowed to pay the purchasing price in installment and I have the option to enjoy the use of that goods also. The ownership is transferred to me. The ownership of that capital asset is transferred to me once all the payment has been done by me. Okay, when I have completed the last installment, then ownership of that particular asset is transferred to me. Okay, now if the hirer defaults on the payment, if I defaults on the payment, the seller is entitled to recover the assets from the hirer. So I have the assets possession, I am using it, I'm paying the installment price. But for example, I defaults, I'm not paying the installment on time. Then the what? Then the seller has the full option to recover the assets from the hirer, right? The hirer may on his own also return the asset to the hirer. Okay, so there is a hirer who is actually using that asset, and there is the hiree who is actually what known as the seller, right? Now, the first hire purchase company was the Commercial Credit Corporation, successor of the Auto Supply Company. It was the first hire purchase company in India. It was believed to be the first hire purchase company in India. Clear? So now, if we talk about the difference and what are the legal aspects, first of all, let's talk about the legal aspect of the hire purchase. So, hire purchase is not a contract of sale; it is a contract of bailment. Now, here it is not a contract of sale; it is actually the contract of bailment, because here there is a bailee and there is a bailer, right? So the one who have acquired the good is the bailee, and the one who has given the goods is the bailer, right? So the bailer has given goods to the bailee, and the ownership is transferred to the bailee once the installment has been paid off, right? So hirer has the right to use the good. Hirer here has the right to use the good. He's not the legal owner, right? Now, bailment in this aspect, this is actually governed by the Chapter 9 of Indian Contract Act, and the sales its aspect of the hire purchase agreement is a part of Sale Good Act. Clear? So always remember this is the legal aspect of hire purchase. Clear? Now, if we talk about the difference between the hire purchase and leasing. So, what is the difference between the hire purchase and leasing? First of all, see the meaning or the definition. The lease finance is a commercial arrangement where the equipment owner, who is the owner? Owner is the lessee, right? Lessee is given lesser. Okay, owner is what? Just a second. Okay, owner is the lesser. Okay, owner is the lesser. Okay, so where the owner, the lesser, or the manufacturer, okay, gives the right to use the asset for a rental. Whereas in the hire purchase, there is an hirer and hiree. Hirer, the one who is taking that good and giving the installment, and hiree is the one person who is selling the asset. Clear? Now, option to use in lease financing, except in the financial lease, there is no option that the lessor has to purchase the good. Whereas in hire purchase, at the end of the contract, basically the hirer becomes the owner of that particular good. Lease rentals are paid by lessee and entirely depends upon the revenue expenditure. Whereas in hire purchase, only the interest element included in the hire purchase installment are in the revenue expenditure. Lessor can claim for depreciation here. Here the hire purchaser can claim for depreciation. Clear? Tax benefit in lease rental, the lessor can claim depreciation and lessee can claim maintenance and rental from taxable income as expenses. Whereas in hire purchase, a hire purchaser can claim depreciation and interest payment from the taxable income, whereas seller can claim the interest on the borrowed fund for purchasing that asset. So this is the difference between the lease finance and hire purchase, right? So this is the chapter. I have just given you a important overview of this complete chapter, right? So I have not completed the full chapter. The most important thing is picked up from this chapter and is given to you, right? If you want to learn the complete chapter, so these are the all ongoing patches in Oliveboard app. We have normal foundation patch 2.0. We have the normal foundation patch in both medium. We have DBF patch. We have IEIFS patches. We have AFM patch and RBWM patches. We have PPB patches. We are upcoming with the new selection batch also, which is starting from 17th, day after tomorrow. So there are a lot of batches which are lined up also, and there are a lot of batches which are running currently in the Oliveboard app. Now, if you want to learn the complete chapter, if you want to learn each and every detail of the chapter, you can enroll yourself in either of the batches, right? Now, Instead of going for each and every batch individually, you don't want have to purchase each and every batch individually. Instead, just go for this JIB Super Elite all-in-one subscription. When you are going for this JIB Super Elite all-in-one subscription, you will get the live classes, mock test notes, and everything under one roof, right? We have the case study session, previous year session, special doubt clearing session. We have test and AI analysis. We have the live classes, foundation classes also. So all the things are covered under the one roof with the JIB Super Elite all-in-one plan. All you have to do is to just download the Oliveboard app and you can purchase this JIB Super Elite all-in-one subscription. And very good news, there is a flat 50% off which is going on the JIB and CIB subscription. So if you are using this code UTSUP, right? If you are using this code UTSUP, you will get a flat 50% off on the JIB Super Elite all-in-one subscription. This is on the occasion of Makar Sankranti. So thank you so much everyone who have joined this session. If you have understood whatever I have taught you, just please like and share the video to the maximum you can. And if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, it's a request guys that please subscribe this channel and press the bell notification icon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, whoever has joined this session. And it's a very nice experience to teach you all. Thank you so much. Till then, take care, everyone. Bye bye, guys. Everyone, take care. Just please take care. Bye bye, guys. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this session. Thank you. Bye.